Hello, everybody. Esri Rozier here. So the Eagles recover from a 2-5 start to the season. We finished 9-8, and we're headed for the playoffs. And who do we have waiting for us? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. None other than the defending Super Bowl champions. Now, we played this team earlier this season, Week 6 on Thursday Night Football. It was one of the 3 games I went to. We were down 28-7, I believe, in the third quarter. And we started to rally. Admittedly, it was garbage time because we were down 28-7. We started to rally, and eventually we pulled within 6 points of Tampa Bay. However, we got called for a terrible, awful taunting penalty against Jernard Avery. And the Buccaneers hang on to win 28-22 at Lincoln Financial Field. I'm not blaming the refs for that loss, but that taunting penalty against Jernard Avery was awful. It was awful. Now, like I said, not the refs' fault. We were down 28-7. We got things moving a little too late in that game. But a lot has changed since we met the Buccaneers in October. A lot has changed heading into this second meeting with them. So firstly, I want to talk about that game. At halftime, we had 1 yard rushing. That is no joke. I was there. I remember they showed the stats, the game stats on the screen. I was looking up at the screen. This is no joke. We had 1 yard rushing at halftime. Okay? And then in the fourth quarter, we finally start running the ball. Miles Sanders, he's gashing this very stout Buccaneers run defense for some pretty big gains. And Lincoln Financial Field, the stadium, we're erupting with joy, man. The stadium is getting loud. We're getting into a frenzy because all this time we've been saying run the ball, and we're finally starting to see it. Admittedly, a little too late. But to see Miles Sanders just really just imposing his will on this very tough Buccaneers. Dang it, stupid camera. But to see Miles Sanders imposing his will on this tough Buccaneers run defense, it really just lifted our spirits because remember, this is a game where we're getting blown out. This is a game where we are getting killed by Brady and the Bucs. And we finally had some momentum in the fourth quarter with this run game. Lincoln Financial Field, I'm looking all around. Everybody's going crazy like, yeah. We were finally running the ball. But it wasn't enough. We still lost that game. And another thing about that game is that we didn't get any pressure on Tom Brady. I do remember him throwing an interception, but other than that, like we really couldn't force any mistakes off of Brady. I think he was like 34 or 40 something. He completed over 80% of his passes in that game. One of 5 quarterbacks to do so, along with Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, and Justin Herbert. So what are the keys to winning this rematch? Because this time we're playing them in Tampa Bay because they're a division winner. We're the wild card. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with the Eagles playing on the road entirely through the playoffs. I like us being a road team in the playoffs because the Eagles, we've been better on the road than at home this year. We are 6-3 in road games compared to 3-5 at home. The Eagles are a way better road team than a home team. So the fact that we have to go on the road to play them this time, I feel more comfortable than if we had to welcome them back to the Link where Tom Brady has never lost. He is 4-0 at the Link. But the keys to this game, the keys, ladies and gentlemen, we stick to our identity. We didn't have an identity the last time we played the Buccaneers. We didn't have an identity. Now we are the best running team in football. We can run the ball on anybody. I know everybody is talking about this Buccaneers run defense, how it's going to be a strength versus strength, the Eagles run game versus the Buccaneers run defense. But here's the thing. Earlier, like in the middle of the season, we played the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints, they had their season derailed by a bunch of injuries. But those injuries were mostly to the offense. Their defense was pretty healthy. You had guys like Cam Jordan, Quan Alexander. Their defense was pretty healthy. And they were the number 1 defense against the run. And what did we do to them? The Eagles ran for 242 yards against the New Orleans Saints. That stout run defense that everybody was bragging about, we put up 242 yards on them. So I don't want to hear that we can't run on the Bucs because if we can run it down the Saints' throat, we can run it down the Buccaneers' throat, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Nobody could tell me otherwise. This is gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game. Don't get me wrong. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. It is very tough to put away the champs, but the Eagles, we can do it. So you got to stick to your identity, run the ball. And Jonathan, like many people, my biggest fear for this game isn't even the Bucs. It's Jonathan Gannon. It's one of our own guys. My biggest concern, my single biggest concern for this game is Jonathan Gannon. What is he gonna do? Is he gonna wait to be aggressive in the second half? Like these last few games, it seems like Gannon, he always lets these quarterbacks kill us in the first half, and then he makes his adjustments in the second half. Why can't you just start out the game like that? In our last meaningful game, I don't count that Dallas game last week, we were resting starters. Our last meaningful game, Taylor Heineke, he started 10 of 10. He was 10 of 10, 11 of 11. This guy was completing every single pass. And it's like, we've seen that all year. Justin Herbert going was he 32 of 38? Derek Carr, 31 of 34. Patrick Mahomes, he was 24 of 30. Dak Prescott, 21 of 26. We give up a absurdly high completion percentage. I'm telling you, I don't know how Gannon is getting all this head coaching interest. I really don't, because I think our defense is overrated. I know the stats say otherwise. I know that we're apparently a top 10 defense, but I really don't think our defense is that good. And it's really, we've been playing some mediocre quarterbacks as of late too. Daniel Jones, who we lost to, Zach Wilson of the Jets. We played against Garrett Gilbert the first Washington game. Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon the second Giants game. And then when we played Washington again, they had Taylor Heineke. Heineke was probably the best quarterback we played since Justin Herbert. But those really aren't the best QBs. Our defense, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, guys, but our defense is overrated, okay? This bend, don't break philosophy is, I don't like it. I don't like it. We are so soft in the first half of these games. We don't apply pressure. We don't send any pressure. That's been an issue all year, the pass rush. I'm not sure if I can put it all on Gannon because the front four, they just can't generate enough pressure. I don't know if it's because of Brandon Graham going down with an injury against the Niners in week 2, but this front four, they cannot generate pressure consistently. Their weapons cut off on me. But anyway, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by technology. This front four has to be better. They got to get pressure, man. I do not want to see Brady going 22 of 27 or some ridiculous crap like that. You know how we had Taylor Heineke looking in the first half of that Washington game? You know how efficient he looked in that first half? We cannot let Brady get into a rhythm like that. We need a fast start. Fast start. Fast start. I cannot remember when this team started a game fast. We have had a problem in beginning these games. And this is why I really didn't want us to rest our starters last week against the Cowboys, because if you're a team that struggles to get going early on, you have no business resting your starters. You ought to be playing your starters so you can really mitigate that issue. These slow starts have been really killing us for these past few weeks. We were down 3-0 against the Giants. We were down 12-7 against the Jets. We were down 10-0 against Washington. We were tied 3-3 against the Giants the second game. And then we were down 10-0 to Washington a second time. 10-0 to Washington again. Why can't we start these games fast, man? You cannot do that in the playoffs. You could get away with that playing against these mediocre quarterbacks we've been playing, but you're playing against Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. I mean, we don't like Tom Brady, but you got to accept it. He is the greatest quarterback of all time. He has the accomplishments. He's got 7 rings. He's been around the bush. You cannot start slow against a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because if you do, you are going to get bounced. You're going to get bounced off the playoffs, man. Well, bounced out of the playoffs, excuse me. So we really just need to jump on their necks quickly. I haven't seen us start a game fast since the Saints game. I just mentioned how many games. It was the Giants game, the Jets, Washington, Giants again, Washington again. That's 5 games. That's 5 games of slow starts. We cannot keep doing that. Get into a rhythm early. And another thing that these past few weeks, I said it in a previous video, we start passing the ball way too early in these games. I think we get way too pass happy early on. and you really gotta run the ball, like set up the run. You've gotten this far because of the run game. Like don't disproportionately pass the ball to open up these games. Set up a run, man. Set up a run as you incorporate the run, as the run gains more and more steam. The teams are going to fear it. And when they fear the run, that opens up the pass, particularly play action. Play action is revolved around fearing the run, getting your opponent to fear the run so they sell out to it, and then you could totally make them play by airing it out with the pass. One of our problems earlier this season was that we did all this play action. We did all these RPOs, but we weren't running the ball. How many times do I got to mention that we only ran the ball 3 times against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football? And then Nick Sirianni was wondering why the play action was working. Nobody's going to bite on your play action if they know you're not going to run the ball. It didn't make sense to have all this play action without running the ball. But that was then. This is now. We are a smarter team now. This is not the same Eagles team that got blown out by the Cowboys. This is not the same Eagles team that got blown out by these Buccaneers. This is not the same Eagles team that started the year 2-5. We are a new team. We have an identity. We know what we're doing now. And so Jalen Hurts, I want to talk about Jalen Hurts. I've said this before. The Buccaneers, they have a very good run defense. So they're going to be selling out to this run game. They're going to be throwing everything they got to stop this run. So Jalen Hurts is going to have to really make some big throws in this game. He's going to have to win this game with his arm. And I think he's up to the challenge. I personally think he's up to the challenge. That Washington game, the second Washington game, Hurts, that was a game where we really weren't winning because of the run. Washington, they did a decent job stopping the run in that game. I think a big reason why the offense did so well that game was because Jalen Hurts was making these big throws. He was making these killer throws with his arm. He was beating Washington with his arm. I keep the 3rd and 14 play where he scrambles to his right and then he throws that third down pass. I said third down twice. But anyway, yeah, the 3rd and 14 play. He scrambles to his right and he throws a dime to Greg Ward. And then he made several other throws in that game. Dallas Goedert a few times. He had Devontae Smith on the sideline a few times in that game. He beat Washington with his arm. Now, Boston Scott, he did have 2 rushing touchdowns in that game, but the run kind of took a backseat to the pass. I think that second Washington game was the best I've seen Hurts play. That was the best I've seen him play all year. I don't think it was better than his Cardinals game last year, but I think it was his second greatest performance. You could even argue maybe it was his better performance because they had tape on him. The Cardinals didn't have tape on him last year because it was his second start. But that Washington game, Hurts was very efficient. He was very good in that game. So I think that heading into this game against the Buccaneers, I'm confident in Hurts to make those big throws. I'm confident in Hurts to beat the Buccaneers with his arm. Because as was the case when we first played the Buccaneers earlier this year, they are not good against the pass. The Buccaneers have one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They're good against the run, but you can throw the ball on them. So it's really important to capitalize on that weakness. Now, a few things are going to be different from this game. The Eagles, earlier when we played the Buccaneers, we didn't have Dallas Goedert. We didn't have Lane Johnson. I believe Jordan Mailata was playing right guard. So those are 3 major changes that are going to benefit us. And Tampa Bay, here's the big change about this game. The Buccaneers, they will have Gronkowski this time. Robert Gronkowski will be playing in this game. We didn't see him earlier this year. Robert Gronkowski, he missed that game. And that's a pretty big, significant part because the Eagles, we have not been good at covering tight ends this year. The Eagles have been awful against tight ends. We have not been able to cover a tight end to save our lives this year. And so Gronkowski, I'm not worried too much about Mike Evans. You could put Darius Slay on him. Avonte Maddox on whoever. They don't have Antonio Brown you want anymore. Antonio Brown isn't there. Chris Godwin, he's injured. He's out for the year. You could put Avonte Maddox on that guy Scotty Miller. Put TJ Edwards. I would send TJ Edwards on Gronk because I think TJ Edwards is our best linebacker. But Gronk worries me because he's a big tight end. He's hard to tackle. And the guy, he's a Hall of Fame talent, and he'll wreck you. He wrecked us in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 52. Gronkowski was killing us in the second half of Super Bowl 52. He caught the touchdown that gave the Patriots the lead, 33-32, that brief lead. And you really got to stop him in this game. You cannot let Gronkowski, you cannot be cover this tight end the way we've been all year. You have to really, you got to contain Gronkowski. You cannot let, Brady's going to throw to him. That's his boy. They've been kicking it together since New England. Brady's going to throw to him. So you gotta stop Gronkowski. You gotta stop him. As for the run game, Ronald Jones is injured, I know. Leonard Fournette is also injured, but he might be coming back. I'm not sure about Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaquille Barrett, I believe. Those two are also injured. I'm not sure if they're coming back in this game, but the Bucs are kind of banged up. As I mentioned before, they don't have Antonio Brown anymore. So I think that it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very tough game, but the Eagles have a chance to win this game. I want to win this freaking game. I said this in the earlier video about the Buccaneers. I hate this team. I hate them. I hate Tampa Bay. This team is always harassing us. They are always getting in our way. The 1977 playoff game, that was their first playoff win, the Buccaneers. It was against the Eagles. The 2002 NFC Championship. Rondé Barber gets that pick six off of Donovan McNabb. The Veterans Stadium, you can hear a pin drop. It was the final game at Veterans Stadium. It closed down. The Buccaneers go on to win the Super Bowl against the Raiders. And then the opening of Lincoln Financial Field, the first game at the Link, they come in, the defending Super Bowl champion Buccaneers, they beat us 17-0. The 2006 game, 62-yard field goal. They beat us with a 62-yard field goal at the buzzer. Jameis Winston, 2015. He throws 5 touchdown passes against us at Lincoln Financial Field. That set a rookie record for most touchdown passes in a game. 2018. Ryan Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Jackson, of all people. Deshaun Jackson, Eagle killer. They destroyed us. It was our first loss after winning the Super Bowl. Deshaun Jackson, he was so deadly against us after we let him go. Deshaun Jackson, he really owned us, man. That was one of the worst mistakes we could have made, letting him go. And then the game earlier this year, they beat us. We gotta stop losing to the Bucs, man. I'm sick of losing to the Bucs, man. We cannot keep losing to the Buccaneers for all eternity, man. It's a law of probability. We gotta get them, man. We gotta get them someday. We gotta get them someday. Why not Sunday? Why not Sunday? We can win this game. I believe we're gonna win this game. I think the Eagles will shock the world. We will go into Tampa Bay, our first playoff meeting with the Buccaneers since that 2002 NFC Championship, and we are going to beat them. We're going to send the champs home, and I'm speaking it from my lips to God's ears. Go Birds.